welcome back to the Inspired Tales channel. In this story, we will learn from someone who was poor but turned out to be very wealthy. What is the story? Let's listen to this story together. In a small town surrounded by mountains, there lived a man named Mr. Rendra. He lived in an old, shabby house, wearing simple clothes and eating modest meals. Despite this, there were rumors among the townspeople that Mr. Rendra was actually a very wealthy man. No one knew that behind his house, in a hidden cave, Mr. Rendra kept priceless treasures. For years, he had been collecting jewelry, gold coins and diamonds, hiding them in a tightly sealed wooden chest. Every night, he would sneak into the cave, open the chest and carefully count his wealth. After making sure everything was still there, he would close the chest and return to his house feeling content. However, despite his immense wealth, Mr. Rendra lived in solitude and constant worry. He feared losing his fortune and was always anxious that someone would find it. He never enjoyed his wealth, merely hoarding it without a clear purpose. One day, a young man named Arman, who often passed by Mr. Rendra's house, noticed his strange behavior. Arman saw how the old man would secretly go to the cave every night and return with a relieved look on his face. His curiosity grew, and Arman began spying on him. After several days of observing, he realized that Mr. Rendra was hiding something very valuable. Greed began to consume Arman. On a dark night, while Mr. Rendra was fast asleep, Arman sneaked into the cave and dug up where the wooden chest was buried. With great excitement, he lifted the chest and took it away, leaving no trace behind. The next morning, as usual, Mr. Rendra went to the cave to check on his treasure. But when he dug into the ground, he was shocked to find an empty hole. His face turned pale, his body trembled, and he screamed in despair, "My treasure! Where is my treasure?" His voice echoed through the silent cave. The villagers, hearing his cries, quickly gathered around. One of them, Mr. Budi, a wise and respected man, calmly asked, "Mr. Rendra, why are you so sad? Haven't you never used your wealth all this time?" With tears in his eyes, Mr. Rendra replied, "I just wanted to see it every day, to make sure it was still there. It made me feel safe." Mr. Budi smiled faintly, then took a large stone and placed it in the hole where the chest had been. If all you wanted was something to look at every day, then this stone is just as valuable as the treasure that was stolen, because neither your treasure nor this stone was ever used by you. Mr. Rendra fell silent, realizing how futile his life had been. He had sacrificed his happiness for something he had never enjoyed. With a heavy heart, he left the cave and decided to change his way of living. A few days later, he sold part of his land, bought basic necessities, and began interacting with the local people. He donated some of his money to help those in need and finally experienced true happiness not from possessing wealth, but from sharing and using it wisely. From this story, we learn that wealth kept without being used is nothing more than a burden that ties us down. True wealth is not measured by how much we have, but by how well we use it for a more meaningful life.